And Charlie's little girl. He mows yards in the summer. He's just
Wait for him to come over.
lawn mowing is like model.
Your mics are on there. Just so you know.
Sweating is good for children.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I just pushed the button. Is it fighting with you? Huh. Yeah, I pushed it. It changed color.
Is that the box of everybody's
Cards. Yeah. I was like, oh, it's got my name on it. I wonder. I have to try to remember to take that.
You know, this guy next month will be done. If we have a 5:30 meeting, we'll be home now. Watching television, taking a nap, living the good life.
Official now. It's crooked.
It's working? Awesome.
It's crooked. Yeah, there you go.
Around the other way. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting. Brother, would you rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance with us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under addition and deletions, I'd ask for a motion to hold an executive session at the end of the meeting.
I
Possible
move.
litigation.
I move we hold an executive session at the end of the meeting for litigation.
A motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Here's our motion to approve the March 13th council meeting and the March 20th work session.
I move to approve the March 13th council meeting minutes and the March 23rd work session as presented.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Reports. Councilman Moulton.
No, and I think our next Deer Creek Days meeting is the 6th.
6th of April. I think that, yeah, 6th of April.
Here in Town Hall. So that's about it.
Okay. Councilwoman Nunn.
Oh, yeah. Interesting things happening out there in the world. The Northeast Wyoming Municipal Leadership Meeting in Douglas, which Mayor Ramel also attended, had some interesting discussion. They discussed an annual congressional tour. This is a program where top-level staff members from Congress come to Wyoming to meet the West at ground level. The program is beneficial to Wyoming. People in Washington Congressional Circle have no idea what Wyoming is. There's no present plan for this tour to be conducted, but future plans should be developed at the annual WAM conference this summer. This is an educational, hands-on experience for people from the East Coast, and it's really quite valuable for our state. They reviewed some of the legislation that was passed that might affect municipalities, some legislation on guns that resulted in local governments making the decision if guns could be carried at council meetings. There was a discussion on the location of county pockets of land within cities and the procedure for annexing such area. 2 more liquor permits will be available in Glen Rock. Bruce, do you know the details of how these permits will operate here in Glen Rock?
Those are what we call a restaurant or a tavern license, which means they're designed for like a restaurant or something that doesn't have a full retail license. They can sell like beer and stuff like that. They can't sell hard liquor, but they also have to keep record of how much alcohol they sell, but it's not more than what the food they sell. That's what it's been. But with the change in the law, it about more across the state, more of these. They renamed it from a restaurant license to a tavern license, what it became. It has to do with the tavern and possible entertainment stuff, but it's for like beer and stuff like that. That's all it is. It's pretty minimal, but it still allows them to sell some alcohol, and they have to meet requirements of serving and everything else. That's what that stuff's about.
Still might encourage someone
Yeah.
to put up some kind of eating facility.
Yeah, it's a
in Glen Rock that
facility,
wouldn't
it's like
otherwise.
the Classic has one. You can have a beer and stuff there with the pizza and stuff like that. So, yeah, the Fireside one that was open, it had one also at that time. They were probably the first ones to get one of those restaurant licenses, and then the Classic here. But that's the ones that we've had here in town in the past, or still have one. So, and that stuff on that on that congressional tours. Newey started that probably 15, 18 years ago, doing that to get the senior and junior staffers out here to see what went on with oil and gas and mining and coal, because what they were being told back there was not true, what they came out here and saw, and helping and educating those staffers to help them with congressional people, either in the House or the Senate. And actually, Newey doing that, we made quite a bit of headway of helping shape some of the federal laws that were happening about some of the natural resource stuff here in Wyoming. And now the Wyoming County Commissioners Association have picked up that. Newey has kind of slowed down on doing the tour every year, because they did it every year. Now the commissioners want to do it where I think there's like 7 different regions in the state of Wyoming that they deal with. I think they kind of follow the different WAM areas, and as they go through those, they wanted, the talk is about, well, at the time when the commissioners that moves around and when it comes into our areas, that maybe instead of the money we've been putting into it all the time, and Newey has $56,000 set aside in an account to do those congressional tours, and the discussion is to whether to get involved and step up and do that in conjunction with the commissioners to talk about your county and your cities inside those areas that goes on. So, which is a good idea. It helps those senior staffers and some of those up and coming junior staffers to learn about our state.
So we kind of want to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, the fact that not all
might want to get on the bus.
Yeah, and the fact that not everybody showed up for the Newey meeting from all the towns that are in northeast Wyoming. That's why they wanted to wait and make some of the decisions and make some of the voting for new, like, director and stuff, for the new Newey director and the voting members for Newey. So that's what that's about.
I've participated a couple of times with the county commissioners, and it really opens those kids, and I use the term kids, they're adults, but compared to me, they're little babies. But it really opens their eyes. They have no idea what Wyoming is like and what open spaces are and how things affect us differently than them. So it's a very positive thing from my perspective.
It's really good. We'll just keep an eye on it.
It's been very positive. We'd pick them up in Casper, and we'd go through Douglas and north. We showed them grassland where the injection of wastewater from oil and gas is being cleaned up and injected back in the ground or reused. We showed them oil and gas drilling rigs. We took them to the coal mines. We were clear up through Gillette up to around Sundance and over by Devil's Tower and go over to Buffalo and up to Sheridan. And we entertained them and showed them stuff for this northeast corner of Wyoming for 2 days. And it was well worth it because it made a big difference, because even at the National League of Cities, when those discussions would come up there when we were at the National League Cities convention, they said, you need to talk to the guys from Wyoming that are in the NUI group because they've been doing this for a while. But I think working with the commissioners would be a great idea to get a better bang for our buck.
Okay, carrying on.
Okay.
Some changes were made on vehicle purchasing by government entities, which could make purchasing vehicles for the town easier. $13 million was up for distribution, but divide this among 23 counties, and I doubt if Glen Rock's going to get a hunk. Each community shared information on what was happening in their community, including that Gillette is expecting 60,000 campers this summer during the time of Sturgis, so probably 49 or 50 of those may highway past us and that. And a closing comment that I thought was really interesting: change in Wyoming comes one funeral at a time. We do rather like our lifestyle here in Wyoming. The very best news that came from the meeting was that Rolling Hills, Anna Teresa has announced that she and her crew have 8,500 Easter eggs waiting for little hands at their annual Easter egg hunt April 8th. Be there by 10:30 in the morning for parking purposes, and monitor the weather to be sure your children are dressed properly. That's a lot of eggs. That should be really fun. Okay, landfill. We reviewed with our engineers some finishing projects for the landfill during open dump closure. We're trying to figure out some way to reduce dust and mud with some type of appropriate solid road covering. We haven't decided what that is yet. We want to relocate and replace the office. If you've been in that, it's pretty pathetic. We've completed the fencing, and we need to continue. We haven't completed. We need to complete the fencing, including the 3 acres that belong to the town down there. We need to improve the road into the Barrow area. Good luck getting up and down that hill. Future use of the Barrow area, possible animal composting. I don't really think that sounds like a really good project, but we did toss it around. Green processing, mulching, and composting. This hugelkultur gardening is still under consideration, and we did discuss recycling, but the issue of cost efficiency is still unresolved. We just don't have enough people and enough volume of stuff in our part of the country to make that a really profitable thing. And last, the FEMA All Hazard Preparations class. Attend the FEMA All Hazard Preparation class in Douglas last week, which was a training class to help communities understand the process of preparing to respond to and recover from a disaster. This is a never-ending process involving having a plan, organizing resources, equipment, training, and ongoing evaluation of the plan and looking for improvement. The training was based on a potential disaster in Converse County in a setting of, guess what, wind, snow, and dangerous weather conditions, when a train derailed in downtown Douglas with cars on fires and leaking of unknown liquids. Here in Glen Rock, it would probably be wise to review and update an emergency plan based on our community resources and identify possible other resources that could be available to us. Nobody wants to see how this works, but it's something that should be organized and available. 28 people attended this class, and I was very happy to see Chief Felton and Councilperson Collins in attendance. It was really quite interesting. And one very final note, with a beautiful service in Douglas Saturday in Douglas, goodbye was said to Mayor Kempter, which leaves their town council needing to reorganize to move their town forward. So let's keep them in our thoughts during this time of transition for them. That's it.
From the meeting the other day with NUI, when we went around Douglas showed us out at their landfill where they possibly would set up their recycling in conjunction with 301 disposal. And if they get the money to do that, they have a pretty large area there they could start collecting in 301, 307 plans to make haul trips to Denver on a regular basis to get rid of what's being recycled. So good plan. We'll see if they get their grant money.
We'll be watching them, just
Yeah.
in case.
Councilman Kincaid.
No reports, just participated in the work session last week for council.
Councilwoman Colleen.
Just mention that I also attended the senior officials workshop for all hazards preparedness. Brought up a lot of good issues, questions, things that we can move forward with. Brought home some nice big books of things to start going through.
About that thick.
Yeah.
Not too interesting, though.
And a couple of weeks ago, Chief Elton and I met with the municipal court clerk and municipal court judge, just went over a few things, translation services, and what else was it, Coulter?
Updating some of their, their computer stuff, the way that
Right,
they practice
yeah.
records, things of that sort.
And
Different options.
work release programs. Yeah.
We've taken advantage of that a couple times. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Tammy, clerk.
Just a reminder that on the 3rd, which is next Monday, we have our April work session. Allocations, allocation requests to the town are due on April 7th, and the quarterly scholarship applications are due on the 14th. That's all I have.
Kelly, treasurer.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I have nothing at this time.
Okay. Randy is under the weather. Went home early today, or very early today. Says he's still not feeling well, so talked to him this evening for a bit. So we'll move on to building inspector, Mr. Hunt.
Evening, Mayor and Council. The trailer fire, 247 North Platte. Moving painfully slow, but he's actually got it, the fence all down now. He's going to get it all in a pile, get it hauled away, and then he's going to bring in fill dirt and spiff up the lot, and acts like he's going to clean it bare. So it's like, woohoo. So a long time coming. The RV trailer that we were going to burn with the fire department, there's a question of whether or not we're going to get a burn permit to do it. So if we don't, then we got to come up with another plan, and that's still up in the air. So we'll see what happens there. The post office, pothole blew up on us, I guess. But we did have a good Samaritan, filled it in for us, did a great job. It's unfortunate that timing is just not quite right, because we got a contractor probably this week that was coming in to fix it. So now it's a little bit of a dilemma that, do we do anything, or do we?
The potholes aren't the only thing that they got to get
Yeah,
started on.
there's a
there,
lot
but
of damage.
I think we continue to force that situation on them.
So the end of June is their deadline to repave or re-cement the entire lot. So that's going to happen. And then the handrails need to be completely redone at the same time. And they still have to have the handrails going up the stairs done at the end of this week, basically. So they've been talking to me. They're on board that they're going to make the changes, which is a change. They normally haven't been talking.
I think they still should come and do this preliminary fill, because I was on those pads today, and they're sinking in already. I mean, he did a great job, and God bless him.
Yeah,
doing
that's,
that, but
I mean, what a great effort.
I think we should
From those
stay on these guys.
The holes above there cause the water under the pavement,
Yeah.
and that's all soft there, and the frost
come up.
just keeps breaking it up. It's
Yeah.
going to come plumb apart. Their whole parking lot needs replaced.
I think you keep
So like
on.
I said, I hate to undo what he did if we do, but we'll let the contractor come in and look at it and see what he wants to.
So Lyle, what if he doesn't have it done by the end of June? What are we going to do?
We're going to fine him.
Good. How
We're going to
much?
fine him $750 for the
A day?
lot every 2 weeks. So for the lot, and then $750 for the handrails, so $1,500 every 2 weeks. And I think they're going to break down, and that's already motivated them to start talking to us, which they didn't do before. So I think they're going to make it happen. So, and that's basically all I got.
Police chief.
Evening, Mayor and Council. Hate to beat a dead horse, but I
did attend some FEMA training earlier this week with our two lovely council ladies. I think we brought a few things to light there, got some good ideas going forward. Luckily, most of the emergencies that we take on in those sessions are always Douglas's, so fingers crossed we're safe. But a couple other things. The charger, I did get a phone call today. We are looking, the individuals at Griner are going to be doing the repairs for us on that. They are looking at parts tonight and how long that's going to be till they get those in, and we can schedule that to get that one fixed and back on the road, so that'll be nice. Officer Brewer completed CIT training last week, and last Thursday she took her test at the academy, so she's gotten all that taken care of, which is really nice. So she's got a couple more weeks likely on FTO, and then we will have her out on her own. So excited about that. April 13th, we're going to be having some tactical medical training. We've got one of our local, I'm not sure which abbreviation he is at this point, I guess, a nurse practitioner or what do they call them? Anyway,
PA.
I think it's a, PA or a
Nurse
NP
practitioner,
or
PAs, and nurse
I'm not sure
practitioner.
what Dr. Coulter is over there, but he's going to
He's a
come
nurse
over
practitioner.
and give us some updating on some of our tactical medical training. This morning I attended a bullying presentation over at the intermediate school. SRO from Casper actually came over with some of the canned presentations that they do and put on that presentation for our intermediate school kids. We've been having some complaints from parents about bullying over there, so trying to tackle that along with the school to see what we can do to calm that down a little bit. The senior center, Officer Pierce did a presentation last week on some of the frauds going on. We've spoken, and again, like to have him doing that every month with some of the updates, things of that sort. Next month, he's actually planning to do a cell phone assistance presentation. So going to have some of our seniors be able to bring down their cell phones and get those set up and things like that. I believe he even wrangled Jared into going up with him. So make sure we get him the best that we can get him up there. Lastly, we were asked to assist with a 5K run also on April 8th, same day as the Easter egg hunt in Rolling Hills. So that's going to kick off at 8 in the morning. We're just going to give them a little extra traffic control so they can have a safe event. And then last thing I wanted to talk about was I did get over to the elementary school today and check in them, and got to attend recess with about 60 kindergartners after I was done pushing every single one of them on the swings.
Part of the deal.
For about 20 minutes. We got to play tag, but they have this new kind of tag where everyone else is it, and I ran for my life for much longer than I thought recess lasted, but pretty good time. So that's all I have tonight.
Nobody got sick out on the playground, Calder?
I almost did.
How did you luck it, man?
Yeah. I won't be running the 5K, I'll tell you
It's
that.
funny when you help swing somebody, the next thing
There's a line.
down the line.
Yeah, there's not enough swings to accommodate everybody at once, I'll tell you that.
For sure. IT, Jared.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I don't have a tremendous update, just a lot of break fix. And we've also been kind of picking up on events and coordinating with existing bookings and kind of working on some of that stuff. So we've been trying to get all that coordinated so we can get a smooth summer going. And we've got a bunch of movies scheduled. We're going to do those on Thursday nights. And so about every Thursday night in the summer, we're going to have a different movie. And so we're going to get those going. And yeah, so just a lot of that.
That's,
Any questions for Jared? If not, we'll move on. Moving on to items from the floor. Is there any items from the floor this evening? If not, we will move on to new business. First order of new business is Resolution 2023-6, a resolution providing for the transfer of unencumbered and unexpended appropriations for fiscal year 22-23 budget, whereas it is necessary for the budget of the town of Glen Rock to be amended for the fiscal year of July 2022 to June 30th, 2023, taking into account certain unencumbered and unexpended funds, is therefore hereby resolved by the governing body of the town of Glen Rock, Wyoming as follows. Section 1, General Fund Account 101.5002.5600, Mayor and Council projects increased by the sum of $14,000, the source of which will be unappropriated surplus funds. This is specific to the new pump and controls for the Glen Rock Golf Course. We have the transfer of funds, where they will come from, and general fund account 101-515 dispatch to include salary, tax, and benefit account, including by the sum of $47,898.47, the source of which is unappropriated surplus funds. As is specific to compensations for overtime hours for dispatch personnel. Passed and approved and adopted this date, 27th of March 2023. Is there a motion?
I move that we pass Resolution 2023-6.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Everybody knows what the $14,000 is. The other one for the dispatch is they were not founded under, what's that? LFS, yeah, whatever there. But so we had to go back and figure out what we needed to pay them because they were working more hours and were not paid overtime. So under the law, we have to go back 2 years and then double that amount for all those dispatchers, and that's what the sum of the money came up to take care of that for the last 2 years. We took care of those checks last week, signed them and everything. I don't know if you've handed them out yet or not. Okay. But that's what that's for. And is there any other discussion?
On the, when can we see an MOU from you guys on that pump and the?
Hey, Mayor and Council, Joe Perko, Glen Rock Golf Course. I'm the president up there. I apologize for not making the meeting when things were decided on that, so I'm kind of out of the loop a little bit on that as far as discussion goes. Do you want us to provide the MOU?
I thought that was the discussion from the people that were here. They were going to.
I'd like to see something of an MOU or something for in the future. It's written down, the handshake deal, and former Public Works directors on a supposed handshake deal says they'll replace things. Can't indebt future councils or administrations.
Nope, understand that completely.
So there's going to be something in writing from here on out.
I was not clear on how this was going to proceed, so.
If you guys want to come up with something, or we can get something, have our attorneys write it up and have you guys look at it, and we can set it up where everybody, we sign it and you sign it.
My suggestion at this point would be you guys come up with the MOU. Since you're providing the pump, you have an attorney, we don't. That's my suggestion, and then we'll look at it
don't worry, you can
together.
hire one. But we'll take it, Joe, we'll take care of that. We'll get something. No, you ain't got enough. It's going to cost you a lot of money. So we'll have our attorneys write something up, and then we'll get it together, and you guys can, your board can read over it and see what it says, and then we can, if everybody approves it, everybody will sign it. We'll have it for future reference.
Yes, that would be my best suggestion at this point. So.
Sure.
And I appreciate all you guys have done. I really do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys for taking care of that. It's a nice little golf course, and it's a big star for the town of Glen Rock. A lot of people come here and play.
Good. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thanks. Anything else before we call for a vote?
So, Mr. Chairman, this MOU, is this going to include a definition of ownership of the pump and ownership of the water right? So there's no doubt in the future about where everything stands on that?
The water rights are the town of Glen Rock.
That is already clear.
That's all very much
So
clear.
the
It's our water
the
well, and
MOU
it's
is
in the gallery wells.
Definitely define what status of the pump is from now on
Status of the
forever.
pump, status of that water main, that the water line that the town ran up there and paid for. So it will,
Something so another government.
for down future generations, there's something in writing. Then no more saying somebody said something, because we have to do it right. We cannot just indebt future administrations without something in writing.
Yeah, and I think it's probably behooves us to be the writer.
Yeah. I think we should too.
We know what
we
it
think.
needs to say.
We'll have our attorneys get something put together, and then we'll have a meeting with the board, and everybody can discuss it, and then we can approve it and get it signed. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay, motion carries. Next order of business is the Town of Glen Rock Ordinance 741, amendment to regular meeting time. This is the second reading, and is there a motion?
I move we approve ordinance 741 on its second reading.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed by nay, motion carries. Our next order of business is bills and claims. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we pay our bills.
There's a motion to pay our bills. Is there a second?
I second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay, motion carries. Next order of business would be for anybody to make a motion to move to executive session on possible pending litigation.
I move we go to executive session on litigation.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. We will be gone for a little while, and then we'll be back. Yeah, you can take that up there.
John, this is the plan. I did with all my lessons. If I start spreading your way, reach over.
So we're good.
executive session.
I'll
We
second.
have a motion and second to adjourn the executive session. Is there any discussion? Call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Is there a motion to give the mayor permission to sign an affidavit in support of the injunction against the EIS, Commerce County EIS?
I so move.
Moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those have any discussion? We will get the verbiage correct, and then we'll sign it and get it to the commissioners. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by
Just,
nay.
if you could just email it out.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll
could you
get
say
everybody a
that?
copy
Yeah.
of what it goes
Thanks.
into. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Have a
Wait, do
motion.
we need
Motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed by nay. Meeting adjourned. We're out of here.
That was a fast